Morning, everyone. How are we? Hope you're all well. Hope you're all well there. What is it? Bloody Sunday, the 19th of October, 8:54 in the morning here in the Sunshine State, guys. And all you bloody Mexicans are on daylight savings again. Newy Joe saying Queensland needs daylight savings. That's the last thing we need up here, mate. We're still on normal time. Remember that, everyone? All you Southerners, bloody, I don't like daylight savings, I don't know, it just feels weird. Bloody, I don't know. Might work for you down there. It certainly doesn't work up here in North or when you're out west, that's for sure. Anyway, all the usual suspects are on. Far North Queensland Outdoor Adventures. G'day, mate. How are you? It's been a while, guys. I haven't been on for a while because I've been getting skin cancer treatment on my face. It's still kind of clearing up. And I think I should have used that cream a couple more days longer because I don't think it's done as good a job as what I'd hoped. But anyway, it is what it is. Buddy, it's horrible stuff, that. It feels like you're lying there at night. It feels like you got live things crawling under your skin. It's bloody horrible. So anyway, Herb Hamilton, g'day, mate. 6-day travelling around Oz. Oh, 6-day. G'day. Sorry, mate. Buddy, eyes are still blurry. G'day, travelling around Oz. Good on you, Herb. Where are you at the moment, mate? Harvey Dog Run Around. Hi, Buck. Beautiful in Echuca today. Beautiful. Echuca, what a very, very nice there. I was very impressed with Echuca. And what's the New South Wales town across the bridge? I can't think of it at the moment. That's where we stayed anyway, on the Murray River there. Very nice. Did the paddle steamer. What was ours? MV Adelaide. I think it's the oldest paddle steamer there in Echuca. I think it was called the Adelaide. That's the one we did. Yeah, it was really, really good, eh? She's a muddy, like they all are out there in the bush, eh? The muddy, murky looking old river, but it's beautiful when you're sailing up it on a paddle steamer and all the gum trees and that. It's very, very nice. Oh, Toddy Higginson in beautiful Newcastle. Good stuff, mate. Yep, very nice down there. Lukey Reed's on. G'day, Luke. How are you, mate? Hope you're well. Mum and Dad down there as well. Say g'day to them for us. Phil Webber's on from over the ditch. G'day, Phil. How are you, mate? Haven't spoken to you for ages. Hi, Buck. They've got footy still. Yeah, I know. There's I watched the bit of it yesterday from Papua New Guinea. It was Fiji versus the Cook Islands. I think Fiji won that one. So yeah, the Pacific things on at the moment. Looking forward to seeing Samoa and Tonga play. That'll be a beauty. And the New Zealanders, the Kangaroos guys, the Australians, they're over there for a three match or 3 test series against the Poms. So Herb is in Gameri. Good stuff. Go to the Gameri Bakery, mate. Yes, we'll talk about the storms. Some big, bad storms going through that area. I know Steve Fuller was getting his power station out yesterday because there were some big storms heading towards Kingaroy, which is out there Gameri way, and it was heading for Brisbane as well. I know Gidgey was worried about his Raptor guys. He got nowhere to put her under cover, and there was talk of big hail storms and all that type of stuff. So I think they dodged the bullet there. Did anyone get hit by that storm yesterday down there in the southeast? Ken sent me the radar thing, and it looked bloody horrible. There was you used to get bits of blue and green and yellow, and this had a big brown blob in the middle. It looked nasty. So, oh wow. Nathan's saying parts of Ipswich had hail the size of your palm. Holy dooly. Yeah. Oh, okay, Phil. Tonga and Samoa playing in Brisbane. Good stuff. If you're in Brisbane, it'd be worth going to watch that game. Samoa have got a cracking team, guys. They're how they're not a tier 1 team, I do not know. Camp and Oz, Dave saying we got peppered by small hail, came in super hard and sideways. Wow, okay. Rowan Martin, yeah, we all got hail in Greenbank, apparently. I'm at work. Missed the Jeep. The Jeep was in it. Missed the Jeep was in it. Was out in it. Oh, the missus's Jeep was out in it. Hopefully didn't get too much damage, mate. I was looking at the storm, and I did see Greenbank in the middle there. We got a cousin in Greenbank, and me and Gidgey's dad, his ashes are in a like a big fake rock, and his ashes are inside it, and it's in Biddy's rose garden. Our cousin, Bid's got a beautiful rose garden there at Greenbank, and Dad's ashes are in amongst the rose garden. Biddy goes down and says g'day to him when she's watering the roses and that. So, yeah, that's a Greenbank there. Oh, okay. The Australian MotoGP's at Phillip Island today. There you go. That's a bloody nice place too. Oh, that's another place that impressed me, Phillip Island. That was nice down there. And when you go out right out the end there, the scenery there is magnificent. Phillip Island was bloody very, very nice. What's it called? Cows, C-O-W-E-S, Cows Bay or something there. There's a good little memorial there too at Cows Bay. Yeah, Roz and I, we were really impressed with Phillip Island. It was a lot nicer than I thought it was. We were staying at the Powlett River caravan park at the mouth of the Powlett River there, I think, and we did a day trip into Phillip Island. Really nice. That's where the wombat ate all wrappers, dog biscuits at Powlett Creek. If you want to see wombats, that's the place to see them at Powlett Creek Holiday Park. They come in at night and just you go out and you shine your torch. There'll be a wombat under someone's camp trying to flip the lids off all the tubs and everything looking for food. They're bloody funny buggers. Greenbank's totally different nowadays. All four, yeah. Biddy and Al's gone now, but Biddy and Alan's block of land, I don't know how big, or 5 acres or so. It was a massive block of land, and that's what people used to move out to Greenbank, was to get a big block of land and like everything. But that was a long time ago. And Greenbank, we used to go out with the army there with rifle ranges out at Greenbank. I presume the army still got land out at Greenbank. We used to go and do our range shoots and that at Greenbank from memory. Yes, Ray, they were. Melbourne Storm. Oh, God. Something. Oh, gosh. Bless me. Something just went up my nose. Bit of dust or something. Still is, Nathan saying still is, Buck, on the back of the Johnson's Road there. Okay, yeah, Greenbank Army Barracks still out there. I think I did a course. No, I didn't. I didn't do a course out at Greenbank. No, I used to just go out there for the range shoots. Morning, everyone. Bit late to the party. Where's my phone? No, that's all right, Aussie. No, it's all good, mate. We've still doing shout-outs. I've got nothing really to talk about this morning, everyone. I'll just come on to say good day. Bless me, but bless you, Buckaroo. Thanks, Phil W. Yeah, dust or something went up my nose, mate. Thanks, Francis. Hate that when you sneeze on air. Our sneezes, you can't control them, can you? They just hit you. Jennifer G, g'day, how are you? Newy Joe, the crew in the new Hunter 4-wheel drive super centre at Rutherford opened yesterday. Oh, wow. Okay, so the crew's gone into the new Hunter Valley 4-wheel drive super centre at Rutherford. So there's another 4-wheel drive super centre open. Good stuff. Oh, some good stuff in there now, haven't they, Kings? Yeah, it's a good camping store, that one now. They've got some good gear in there. How's the BT50 going? Well, it's going, mate. I can drive it around town and that, but I'm waiting for a new gearbox, everyone. It's on the way. I'll give my mechanic the go-ahead. I think it's coming up from Toowoomba. It's a fully rebuilt Ford Ranger gearbox, 6-speed manual. And it's got heavier duty shafts and bloody splines and beefed up 5th and 6th gear cogs and all that type of stuff. So it's a heavy-duty gearbox and fitted with oil and rear main seal and everything. I'm up for $6,200, guys. So I've lost 6 gear in the BT. Yeah, I could send the gearbox up to Cairns, and they don't know how much. They don't know until they pull the gearbox out and then start looking in there. Probably it could cost me more than that. So at least now I know I'm getting a reconditioned gearbox with heavy-duty components in it. And, yeah, I won't be towing in 6 anymore, guys. I don't know if that's what caused the problem and that. I don't think it is. That gearbox has always been shit in that vehicle. It's always been clunky. In cold weather, it used to grate going into 5th and 6th. It's never been a good gearbox. I'll be glad to get rid of it. John's on from Oregon. G'day, John. How are you, mate? I missed the explanation for the transmission. No, the transmission, mate, the gearbox I'm getting, basically they're not – there's a few options. You could buy, if you can get one, a brand new Ford Ranger gearbox. I'd hate to think how much that'd be worth, probably 13 grand or something. That's not happening. I could go up to Cairns and get a Cape York 4-wheel drive, and there's a few other places that specialise in gearboxes up there. They said, oh, mate, it could be around the 4,000 mark for us to pull the gearbox out and fix whatever's going on in there, but we don't know until we open the gearbox up and see exactly what's going on in there, because I had a bad vibration going on in 5th gear coming up through the gear stick. That's been going on for about 12 months, and then it started making funny noises in 6. So I'm just getting a whole new rebuilt Ford Ranger gearbox, everyone, with heavy duty components inside. So it's a beefed up gearbox, which will be better for towing. They still said don't tow in 6, so I won't be towing in 6 ever again. I'll just rev it higher and keep it in 5th gear, guys. So trouble is I was towing a lot in 5th on this last trip down to camping with mates, but with the caravan on, it was under load a lot more, and the gear stick just vibrated. I had to just drive with my hand on the gear stick to stop it vibrating. So there was something going on inside that gearbox. Anyway, that's the first big thing that's ever happened to that BT50, guys. Hopefully the last. I've had an alternator replaced and a starter motor and little things like that, and just regular servicing. I've had a rear main seal oil leak. I had that replaced years and years ago, but this is the first big ticket item that's gone on at the gearbox. Could have been worse. Could have been an engine, I suppose. I shouldn't speak too soon. But Roz said anything else big goes on that vehicle, it's gone. So, and if that goes, so will the caravan, guys, or that'll be the end of me camping days, I think. Well, camping in a caravan anyway. I'll just probably buy a bloody SUV, put a tow ball on it, and just tow the garden trailer around with some camping boxes in the back. Might be time to overload it. Overload what, mate? Might be time to overload it. Nah, that went over my head there, mate. John saying g'day to Tim there. Rowan saying he's got to change the alternator on his yellow Jeep. Yeah, so anyway, things happen when vehicles get older, guys. Stuff starts happening to them. It's just the way it is. My Ranger's 260,000 on it. Have to replace the rear main myself, yeah. So mine's got 250 on it, 250,000 kilometres. So you like to think I've got a lot more left in it yet, guys. Should get, I don't know how, you should get $1 million out of them, shouldn't you, if you look after them? Diesel engines, they should just keep going, but I don't know. We'll see what happens anyway. Conquest Earth Channel. Saying g'day from Brisbane. G'day, mate. How are you? There's another new name, Conquest Earth Channel. Saying hello from Brisbane. Mark Lavell's on, everyone. Did the Jayco water pump? No, mate, I'm getting the gearbox sorted first. That water pump's the least of my worries at the moment. I've got to get the gearbox sorted, and then when that's done, I'll take it up to Jayco and get the water pump done in the caravan, mate. So our camping's done until next year now, everyone. It's starting to warm up here, getting into the 30s. So that's camping for this year until next year. You won't see me camping. you'll see me out in my son's boat shortly, but that's coming up in a couple of weeks. Me and Phil are going to hit the reef in his boat. So probably going to camp on an island out there, Gould Island or something. So might get a video out of that. We'll see what happens. You might even see me catch a fish. Ben Jacker. G'day, Buck. I haven't been on for a while. I remember your name, mate. Yeah. Just about to make our way home from Renmark, which is in South Aussie, in the Riverland of South Australia. My 3-year-old twin girls love going camping and love showing them the great country. Yeah, good stuff. I keep saying it, the kids always remember their camping trips when they get older. They'll always remember fondly back to their camping stuff. Lauren and Phil still talk about our camping trips when we used to go camping over in Western Australia. So, yeah, good on you, Ben. Good stuff. Good for taking the kids out, mate, and getting them out to see the outdoors and all that type of stuff. And that's why I love watching Cam and Tiff on a Saturday morning, guys. And you've got Chloe and Brody, and they've got their kids out, and absolutely fantastic. Oh, Chloe's going to have a lot to tell all her schoolmates when she gets back to West Aussie and goes back to school. She's going to have so many stories about catching barra and all that type of stuff to tell all the other kids at school. I think it's fantastic for young kids to get out and do that. If you're going to do a lap of Australia or whatever, and you think the best time for your kids to do it is obviously when they're in primary school, guys, because let's face it, if they miss, you can school them on the road when they're in primary school. They don't miss out on too much. It gets harder if they're in high school. That's where they need to be at school and all that type of stuff, isn't it? So, yeah. Rob's had the dreaded EGR cooler leaking fluid. That's the Achilles heel of those vehicles, mate. The EGR cooler. And my EGR plate's been blocked off, but I'm getting the full thing done. So that never happens to mine. Brad Howell always warned me about that, mate. That's the EGR cooler, and that's how your engines can go. That's how Tripp and Aveen blew their BT50 motor up, was the EGR cooler went on them. Yeah, mate, that's a common thing with our vehicles. Rob's and me got the same engine in our vehicles, guys. The BT50 and the Ranger are the same engine, the 3.2. Yep, well known for that happening, Rob. So anyway, luckily it wasn't too bad, mate. You saved your engine by the sounds of it. Otherwise, you would have been up for a new engine. Tyler's on, guys. Long time no hear, mate. Tyler Haas down in Tasmania, everyone. Good on you, mate. Hope you're well. When we did our trip down into Tassie a couple of years ago, me, Roz, Rafa, Lukey Reed and Tyler all caught up for a coffee one morning in Launceston somewhere. I think so. I can't remember now. We all caught up for coffee down there in Tassie. So good to hear from you, Tyler. Hope you're going well, mate. Hope everything's good down in Tassie. Far North Queensland Outdoor Events. Going to see our mate Dale, the campman. Where are you seeing Dale, mate? Good stuff. Tell him, Buck, if you see him, tell him Buck said to say g'day and pull his finger out, get in touch with me and do a live. We'll do a live feed one night. I keep sending him messages going, do you want to do a live feed? He goes, yeah, mate, yeah. He's all keen. Then I'll never hear back from him. Tell him I want to do a bloody live feed with him and Dodge. Dodge the dog. Rafa wants to say g'day to Dodge. The Blue Cafe, that's right, the Blue Cafe it was, where we caught up for a coffee. Yeah, good stuff. John's going on about his Jeep. How good. That's a great old Jeep of yours, mate. I'll tell you what I did see when I was on the last camping trip. We went to Fighter World down there at Williamtown, and they had an original Willys Jeep there, John, from World War II, mate. Oh, left-hand drive too. What a beauty. Absolutely, I'd love to own one of those things. There's a few of them getting around. You always see them on Anzac Day here, mate. They'll have old Willys Jeeps up the front of the parade on Anzac Day with some of the old veterans in there that can't walk, and you always have the Willys Jeeps up front with the older veterans and that in there. It's good to see. Absolutely fantastic. And there's a lot of motoring enthusiasts and all that have got old Willys Jeeps, and they keep them in pristine condition and probably just for Anzac Day. just to take out, and they dress up in a uniform and take all the veterans out on Anzac Day. It's fantastic to see. Rob said he saw this the temperature climbing and pulled over straight away, managed to top the coolant up and drove it to Brisbane to have it repaired. Well, you saved the engine, mate, because a lot of people apparently have cooked their engine because of that EGR cooler. So I'm getting mine probably next year, mate. Now that this gearbox things, I'm going back to the bloke who did the remap and that. He's actually going to blank it off altogether. So that will not be an issue with mine because I won't need it anymore. The EGR's been blanked off, so it doesn't need the cooler. I don't know how. Brad Howell will tell you how it works, but the new Y62 are a bloody nightmare with all the electrics. Nissan themselves can't even sort them. Yeah, sometimes it's like that, mate, isn't it? Like the vehicles get too bloody electronic, and that's what worries me with all these new EVs that are out now, these Shark 6s, and well, not that the Kia Tasman's an electric vehicle, but when you look inside, everything's just too electronic. And as you know, the more electrical shit you got in a vehicle, the more shit that can go wrong. And I even hate electric windows on a vehicle. I've replaced 3 actuators now in that BT50 because the windows won't go up and down. And you put a new one in and then 5 minutes later, another one goes. It's just non-stop. I'd rather have a bloody wind-up window. Electric windows are good when they're working, but I still prefer the old wind-up windows. At least they work. What about going to Mahindra? No, I don't know. I wouldn't go on Mahindra, mate, I don't think. Don't know. Mahindras haven't really taken off in this country. You see a few of them around, but they haven't taken off. I know we got a well-known guy here in Australia, John Ruth. Ruthie used to be on 4-wheel drive action and all that. He drives a Mahindra around now, but yeah, they haven't really taken off Mahindras. They're an ugly looking thing. They're not a nice looking 4-wheel drive. They look a bit ugly. Apparently they use Cummins running gear, which nothing wrong with that. That's very good stuff. So they're solid. Yeah, Ruthie drives around in a Mahindra now, mate. So anyway, yeah, keep it simple, stupid. Exactly right. Ruthie's got a Mahindra, the only one I know. I got a mate, Craig Anderson. He's a cabinet maker. He's down in Tassie now. I don't know if he's still got it in Tassie, but he had a Mahindra when he worked at the prison with me, and he loved it. He said, "Oh, I love it." He said it was cheap, good on fuel, reliable. So yeah, he liked his Mahindra. It's not a 4-wheel drive. You go, wow, that's a tough looking 4B or whatever. They're a bit of an ugly looking thing. Steve said the bloke who does the cleaning at work has got one and reckons it's great. Yeah, but you just don't see them. I just don't think they've taken off, have they? And apparently something that isn't taken off and they're only doing half the sales that they were hoping to do is the new Kia Tasman. Once again, the Kia Tasman, guys, is an ugly looking ute. Let's face it, it's ugly and the engine's too small. That's what concerns me with the new Ranger Super Duty when it comes out next year. I just think that needs I don't know. They're asking the same 3-litre engine, which has been having some problems. Let's face it, the 3-litre V6 diesel that Ford are running in the Gen 3 Rangers, they're having some problems with them, and they're going to put that same engine into the Super Duties and go, oh, you can tow 4.5 ton, 4.5 GVM, 8,000 GCM and that. They're asking a lot of that engine, guys. It's all good to beef up the axles and beef up this and beef up that and toughen up the vehicle, and then they go and put the same engine in there. That needs to have a bigger engine, I think. Anyway, time will tell. Time will tell on the Super Duty when it comes out and see how that 3-litre engine performs, the V6 diesel, see how that performs. Yeah, and they have. The Super Duty have still got, they've they've downed the power on the engine so you can't overwork it apparently. So it's down on power as in kilowatts. It's still got 600 Newton meters of torque. So it's still got 600 Newton meters of torque for towing, which is, you'd need it. If you're gonna hook 4.5 ton behind that thing, let me tell you, you're gonna need all of that 600 Newton meters. Yeah, I love the V8 F-150 Super Duty. Yeah, I know. I don't know why they didn't put a V8. I do know why they do it. It's because of all the emission laws and all that type of stuff, guys. So anyway, we'll see how the new Super Duty goes. They're certainly a tough-looking vehicle. We'll see how that... Elvin, I was talking to Elvin the other day, guys. He's got the V6 Ranger, and he loves it. He said it tows beautifully. He said, I shouldn't say this, but he said in the Northern Territory, he said there were times there where he got her up to 130, towing the caravan to get around trucks and that. He said it's got some get up and go, that V6 engine. But you hear a lot of... I saw one going on a flatbed in Narrabri. We were camped in Narrabri, and a old couple pulled up beside us the next morning. A flatbed came in, and their new Gen 3 Ranger was going away on the back of a flatbed. And I thought, oh, there's another one. There's another one. Mind you, I don't know if it was the V6 or the 2-litre. I'm not sure. I think it was the V6 version. And the 2-litre, which Steve's got, guys, that one has got the wet timing belt. And let me tell you, Steve, I hope you haven't got that vehicle when you need that job done, because that's going to cost you thousands, mate, when they have to replace that timing belt. They've got to pull half the engine apart and the suspension to get to it. It is an absolute nightmare job. Been following a channel there from the UK. They've got the 2-litre Rangers over there, and the mechanics showing what they need to do to replace that wet timing belt. Absolute nightmare. It must be a 2-day job just to replace the timing belt on it. And if the timing belt does go and you don't get it in time, you've done your engine. So, but the V6 don't have the wet timing belt, guys. They've got a timing chain. It's only the 2-litre like Steve. So anyway, see what happens. Keep it serviced, mate. That's all you can do. The trouble is it's not something they can do a service and go, oh, next service, your timing belt might need replaced. They can't see it. They've got to pull half the car apart. I won't have it at 200,000. I'll be lucky if I have it at 100. You're sick of it already. 100,000 is not a lot, mate. That's not a lot. If you start doing some big trips, that 100,000 is going to come around pretty quick. So Steve's writing his Ranger off already, guys. He's going to get rid of it before the timing belt goes, he reckons. Dear. My Aussie mates in Canada are buying the coolest trucks for a third of the price over there compared to what we pay. Yeah, I know, mate. I know. We're going down the rabbit hole now. Thanks, Dave, for that. There was an Aussie guy in Thailand the other day, and I just saw it on a short or whatever. He was in Thailand. He was in a supermarket in Thailand, and he picked up a tray of steaks, and they were Australian steaks. I don't know, rib fillets or something. Beautiful looking steak, Aussie steaks. And he said, have a look at the price of this. And it was like under half of what we pay here at the butcher. It was Australian beef in Thailand, and it was half the price of what we pay here in Australia. How does that work? Can someone please explain me, without telling me that we are getting ripped off and that they are taking the piss? How does that happen? How can they possibly sell Australian beef in Thailand cheaper than what you can go down to Coles or Woolworths or to your local butcher and buy it? And I'll tell you what, I'm always saying, support your local butcher, support your local butcher. Some of the butchers are price gouging, guys. You go in and look at the price of their meat, and I'm starting to think, it's cheaper for me to go to Coles and Woolworths and buy my meat. Like, when you're starting to bloody count your pennies, you've got to be careful when you're on a pension. You can't go splurging out too much, unless it's a king store, unless it's a camping store, you can. But you go there and you look at the butcher prices and you think, I went into my local butcher at East Innisfail the other day. Rib fillet, $63 a kilo. It must have been from a cow that had gold threads through it or something. And I thought, you're taking the piss, aren't you? Who's going to buy that for $63 a kilo? I know I can go to South Johnson and get black Angus rib fillet for $50 a kilo, 2.2 pound, or I can get beautiful porterhouse steaks for $40 a kilo, which is, I don't mind paying that, but I just walked into that butcher and thought, nah, you're taking the piss, guys. You're absolutely taking the piss out of us now. Yeah. We pay $69 a kilo for rib fillet on the sunny coast. Yeah, that's bullshit, mate, isn't it? No way. No way for a country that's, one of the leading beef producers in the world, and we're paying that for a kilo of steak. We're getting taken for a ride, everyone. It's bullshit. Wonder why we eat tin tuna now. Can't afford to buy a friggin' steak. Tell you what, I can go to Coles, guys, and get a big ribeye with a bone in, and it's a big, thick steak, and it's got the garlic butter cryovac on it, and it's like $19 for a piece. I can cook that, and that will do me and Roz. Just do it in slices, then have a nice salad on the side, like a mixed tossed salad or whatever, with some beef strip. Just cut that ribeye bloody into strips and put half the strips with a salad and one of those. And it's $19 for a piece. It's a nice big thick ribeye with a bone in. So it's cheaper now for me to go to Coles or Woolies, I think. John saying Dana and I shopping for a brisket earlier today, $5.95 a pound. Yes. Well, hang on, let me do the calculation. So we'll double that, say $10, $11. $11. Yeah, that's cheap. Speaking of brisket, I did one in the Weber last night, guys. I got a beef brisket from Coles, just a small one, not a massive brisket, just a small brisket. It was plenty big enough, and some beef ribs. The beef ribs didn't have as much meat on them as what the butcher ones do. I slow cooked them in the Weber yesterday for about 8 or 9 hours. Wrapped them. Glad you reminded me, John, because that's why I wanted to talk about that. Wrapped them up, put a nice, beautiful barbecue sauce over them. We had it last night, and it was very, very nice. Did some potatoes in alfoil in the Weber as well, and some corn. And it was bloody beautiful. And then just had that barbecue sauce. So I put a rub on, a brown sugar-based rub with salt, pepper, cayenne pepper. What else did I put in there? Oh, all different sorts of spices and all that as a rub. And it come up really, really nice. The bloody beef ribs I did last night were very, very good. I thought, oh, yeah, double thumbs up for these ribs. They come out really, really nice. And I'll tell you what else I tried is never been able to really find it before. When the Yanks do slow cooking, everyone, they'll put their brisket, we'll use brisket or ribs into the Weber or into their bloody offset smoker or whatever, and you slow cook that and get the rub to get a bark on there, a crust on the outside, and then say halfway through, you then wrap it up, and that's when you put your sauces and all that, and then you wrap it, and then you do the other half of the cook with the meat wrapped up. That's what makes it go really tender and that. I've always put it in alfoil, whereas I went to Bunnings yesterday, into the barbecue section of Bunnings, and they had the proper butcher's paper, and that's why the Yanks always wrap their meat in butcher's. It's like a thick brown butcher's paper, they call it. Well, Bunnings has rolls of that now, everyone. And I thought, you bloody beauty. So I wrapped the ribs and the brisket up in the butcher's paper last night, and they've also got in Bunnings big rolls of aluminium foil, aluminum foil for you, John. And it's not that pissy little thin aluminium foil alfoil that you get from Coles and Woolies. This is like really thick, like twice the thickness. And I got a big roll of that, and it was really, really well priced. I'll tell you now, go into Bunnings, guys, and go to their barbecuing section. They got some good gear in there now. Everything from basting brushes to bloody charcoal starters. Bunnings have got, and then I went into my local barbecue shop and I bought $100 worth of charcoal and all that type of stuff in there. And I thought, hate to say it, but I can go to Bunnings and get all this stuff for half the price. And I try and support the butchers and the little shops and that. But when you go in there, it's like, I went in the other day to the local chemical shop to get some nice stuff for the mop bucket, and they got a nice one, lemongrass, and you put a dash of that in your mop bucket, and it's got a lemongrass smell, and it makes your house smell nice after you mop the house out. That's gone like $80 for 5 litres. And I said to him, mate, I'm not paying $80 to mop me floor. Oh, we've got a cheaper one here, mate, $30. It was like a different flavour or whatever. And I could go and pay $10 at Bunnings and get a 5 litre smelly disinfectant to put in the mop bucket. And here's the local chemical shop wanting to charge $80. So as much as I like to support these smaller stores and that, guys, the big guys like Coles and Woolworths for groceries and bloody Bunnings, for your hardware stuff, it's just cheaper to go to the big places because they buy everything in bulk. $9 Aussie, is it? $9 a kilo for brisket. Yeah, brisket's a cheaper cut. You got to cook brisket right. You got to slow cook brisket. I don't think you can. Has anyone done a brisket in the slow cooker? Actually in the electric slow cooker. You get some ribs, guys. Put them in the slow cooker at home and just put a nice barbecue sauce or like a nice barbecue, some sort of sauce over the top of the ribs, and just leave them all day in the slow cooker, and they are bloody beautiful at the end of the day. Yeah, it is, mate. $80. He had some other not flavors, other stuff there, like and then I said, what about the lemon one, mate? The lemon citrus one. That was $60 for 5 litres. I said, mate, I'm not paying that. Oh, we got one here. It's a spice one. It's $32. I said, oh, give me that then. I could have gone to Bunnings and got one for $10. So I know I'm just going to have to bite the bullet soon. And you go to Coles and Woolies and buy your meat, and it's just convenient. But you go to the butcher, and I don't know, you just see the prices of their stuff now. Just basic old mongrel sausages are nearly $20 a kilo now for friggin' sausages, for the shit they sweep up off the floor and put through a mincer. Half of it's just fat, and they're charging $20 a kilo. It's bullshit. And Rafa's bloody not happy either, everyone. He said, you go to the butcher and get a dog bone, and he said, that's what you get, a bone. There's no meat on it. He said they trim all the meat off them. He said, I want a nice big soup bone that's got heaps of meat on it so I can chomp on that. When me and Friday or Saturday afternoon, Roz and I like to sit out in the backyard if it's a nice afternoon and have a drink and have a chat to each other. And we usually give Rafa a bone, and he chomps on the bone while we're sitting out in the backyard having a chat. But, yeah, you go to the butcher now and they give you a packet of dog bones, and all you see is just white bone. And you know, where's the meat on there, mate? Like, leave a bit of meat on there for the dogs. But anyway, that's what it is. Wish I lived in Bustleton or what's the other place? Just south of Perth there. Bunbury. The Bunbury farmers markets. They are next level. If anyone ever goes to Bunbury or Bustleton in Western Australia, go to the farmers markets. Bloody believable. You've got to see it to believe it, guys. It is the best fruit and vegetables and meat and just everything. You go in there and they got trays of vegetables already cut up. So if you want to do a stir fry, you just you don't have to buy, you just buy a tray and it's already cut up for you. So there's no wastage and all that type of stuff. Just incredible. That's what Steve was saying there. They all come from fresh farms daily. Here we go. Sorry, Steve. I'm going back to Steve's one. I know that at work, all our bananas, mangoes, everything comes from up your way. Our meat comes from around Tamworth and Narrabri. Okay. That is beautiful cattle country up through Narrabri and Gunnedah and all those places where Wixie and that lives. Geez, that was a good drive, everyone. When we left Newcastle, we went out through Scone, Singleton, Scone, a few other towns there. Beautiful little towns, really, really nice little towns in New South Wales, up to Gunnedah, where Wixie and Paula live, and then Narrabri. Then we went up through Mungindi, not Mungindi. I called it Mungindi, and it wasn't until Phil Taylor said, "You idiot, it's Mungindi." I went, why did I not pick up on that? I knew there was a town called Mungindi. Didn't realise I was in that town. I'm trying to pronounce the name of it. It was Mungindi, not Mungindi, on the Queensland-New South Wales border. Not a bad-looking little town. And then we went out to St. George and then up through that way. And then we did instead of the Carnarvon Highway, we went up the Leichhardt Highway, and we went through a bloody, I'll tell you where I had the best ribs ever, guys, and I'll think of the name of the town. Theodore. I got to remember Theodore Roosevelt, the US president, because I keep forgetting the name of that little town. We stopped in a little town called Theodore on the Leichhardt Highway, which is inland Queensland. We went to the pub for a counter. Ros had a pork belly, which was very, very nice, she said, and nice crackling on the outside. And I got to serve of beef ribs. And let me tell you, the local pub at Theodore is the best beef ribs I've ever eaten in my life. I've had some good ribs in my time, everyone. A close second was at Cobalt Gorge, at where the glass bridge is over the gorge there, Cobalt Gorge. I had some really nice beef ribs there. But these ones at the Theodore Hotel the other night, very well priced, and a lot of them. I had to give Ros one of the big ribs. I couldn't eat them all. Bloody beautiful. Anyway, so, yeah, those little country towns are fantastic. They really are. Fantastic little country towns and great cattle country. Some of those towns, I forget the name of the town there, where we cut down towards Newcastle. Some of the best cattle country I've ever seen, just rolling green hills for as far as and you just think, this is absolutely magnificent countryside. Stunning down there in New South Wales. When you get up through central Queensland, it actually starts getting a bit drier and whatever. It's got its own appeal, but some of those country towns in New South Wales, everyone, is a bloody beautiful state. It really is. They're shit footballers, but it's a beautiful state. And, you know, if you get off the coast's beautiful, but the country towns as well in New South Wales, really, really nice. Ros and I love that now. I think next year we'll hook the caravan up. We're just going to go for another trip and go through little country towns that we maybe haven't been to for a long time. I know what I want to do next year. I want to go out Cunnamulla. I want to go out further west and go to Cunnamulla, where I used to live as a kid in the early 70s. And then I still have not been to the Birdsville Hotel. That's on my bucket list. I think next year, Ros and I might have to hit Birdsville and go out. And I'll put Barry up Big Red with his new gearbox. I'll probably blow the engine going up Big Red or something. No, but so we're going to get down and go out further west. And, yeah, Cunnamulla. I don't think I'll go to Thargomindah. The flies out in Thargomindah are off tap. Probably all right in winter time. I did an army exercise out at Thargomindah once, west of there. It was hot as bay. It was like 40 degrees. We were stomping with our packs on. I think we walked 120 kilometres in about 4 days or 4 or 5 days. Blokes were going down with heat exhaustion. Were carrying packs, rifle, webbing. It was like a survival type thing. And it was ridiculous. And the flies, to get food in your mouth, you had to have 2 blokes with their bush hats, waving their bush hats so you could get food in your mouth without getting a mouthful of flies. That's how bad they were. They were unbelievable. We had stuff called scrim. It was like a shade cloth. And we had to put it under our bush hats and use it as like a fly veil because you could not take a breath without swallowing flies. It was horrible. That was the worst I've ever seen flies in my life. Yeah, half the sausages are 70% filler. Dave saying, I know the ones you get at Coles and that, at a bloody sausage sizzle at Bunnings, those type, yeah, they're all fill. I don't know what's in there. Is it like a wheat or whatever? They taste nice, but yeah, I don't mind the old bloody Coles basic sausages, the real cheap ones. I'll tell you a good way to cook them, everyone. Put them in the air fryer and just hit them with a bit of spray oil and give them about 10 or 12 minutes in the air fryer. They come out and they kind of puff up they get thicker and the skin's nice and crunchy on them, on the sausages. Air frying sausages. Give it a go, everyone. I reckon that's the best way to cook snags is in the air fryer. They come out really, really good. Bloody beautiful, as a matter of fact. Went to Bunnings yesterday and I said, where's your sausage sizzle? And the girl said, oh, here we only do it every fortnight. There's usually a sporting club does the sausage sizzle at Bunnings. I was going to grab a snag on a bit of bread. I was a bit peckish. I said, you haven't got your barbecue going, usually on Saturdays. I'm sure in Brisbane and that, every Bunnings has got a sausage sizzle going on. It's usually a sporting club doing a sausage sizzle. So you get a sausage on a bit of bread with a bit of onion and some sauce for about $2 or whatever, $2.50. Cheap as chips, fills the hole until lunchtime. And as you know, Saturdays, Bunnings is just chock-a-block, isn't it, bloody, with people. So they do a roaring business there at Bunnings doing their sausage sizzles for the thing. Geez, I'm behind in the comments here, everyone. Black Diamond 4x4. Black Diamond, one of my favourite Kiss songs, everyone. I reckon that's one of Kiss's best songs, Black Diamond. Speaking of, Ace Frehley, their original lead guitarist of Kiss, died the other day, guys, at the age of 74. Rest in peace, Ace. Good guitarist. Great guitarist. I wasn't a huge Kiss fan, everyone, but they had some good songs, didn't they? They were good. Anyway, their original lead guitarist, the Starman, the Blake thing, he passed away the other day, had a fall at home apparently, and died from complications of a fall. So it wasn't drugs or anything like that. It was he just had a fall at home and must have banged his head or something. And I'm tipping he died from a brain bleed or something like that. So yeah, I watch a lot of that stuff on YouTube, guys. Rock bands and especially Unplugged, Kiss Unplugged. They were good. They were good Unplugged Kiss. They really were. Anyway, Ace Frehley, the original lead guitarist from Kiss, died, guys. I'm sure if you're my age, we were all brought up with Kiss in the 70s, and I remember them back in the mid-70s, guys. Kiss, they've been around a long time. They've been around a very, very long time. Yes. I'll tell you when I remember, and I'll tell you the year, mate. It was the disco era. Remember, 1979, I Was Made for Loving You came out. That was Mark Lavelle will know, guys. Marky's, he's the quiz master for music. I Was Made for Loving You came out in 1979 and Kiss brought that out when all the big Bee Gees and all the disco era stuff was getting around, and Kiss broke on with a rock song, I Was Made for Loving You. Yeah, it's still a rock song, isn't it? It's and that bloody was number one down here in Australia for God knows how long. Probably one of their best songs, I guess. Sure Know Something was my other song that I liked there. Sure Know Something. That's probably my favourite Kiss song. That and Black Diamond. Morning, Buck. All fatty loved Kiss, yeah. Tomkinson, how are you, mate? Buddy, have you changed your name, Tom? I remember Kiss. They were both on the AFL footy show and the NRL footy show, and they toured Australia, John, and we had a couple of our old footy players. They used to do a Thursday night. It was called the Footy Show, and they talked a bit of football, but it was more of a comedy and just a light-hearted type show, and they used to play games, and it was just a good sit down on a Thursday night, have a beer and have a laugh and that. Anyway, Kiss came on. And I'll tell you what, they were pretty good sports. Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons, and then they dressed up in all the gear and did a couple of songs live, and they're actually playing it live. Very, very good. I think Paul Stanley, very down-to-earth sort of guy. I've seen him in a few interviews, and that guy's very down-to-earth man, Paul Stanley. I like the guy, I really do. And Gene Simmons, bit up himself, guys, but still, he's still pretty down-to-earth as well. And they were quite funny on the footy show. They were having a laugh with the boys and all that, and they were bloody really, really good. Haven't eaten meat from a supermarket ever since I helped with the beast. Learnt a lot. Dave's in a conversation with someone there. Yeah, 79, Mark, it was. I Was Made for Loving You came out in 1979. It was when the Bee Gees were big back then too, weren't they? What was the big Bee Gees? Staying Alive and all that disco type stuff. That was a pretty good era, wasn't it, the 70s? Mid-70s. I've been watching a lot of YouTube stuff, and we used to have a show here called Countdown with Molly Meldrum, and it's starting to come up in my YouTube live feeds, and it goes, the top 10 from October 1975 on Countdown. And you go back and you think, I forgot all about that song. And I remember watching it as a kid, and then, the top 10 from September 1980, and old Shakin' Stevens is in there and all that type of stuff. Xanadu was there. Saturday Night Fever. Xanadu with Olivia Newton-Bomb was there. ELO, Don't Bring Me Down. How good was that song? ELO. Someone went to an ELO concert, and I reckon it was unbelievable. Someone I knew said, I went to an ELO concert once, and it was magnificent. They reckon the lighting show and everything, they said it was incredible. Reg Reagan. Russ is on. How are you, Russ? Hope you're good, mate. The Vomitron. Yeah, the Chief and Matty Johns and that on the Vomitron. That was funny. Old Chief had a weak guts, didn't it? It didn't take much to make the Chief spew. And Fatty, I think, might have vomited up on the Vomitron as well. Sorry, Rowan Buck's about 100 years old. You talk, John. You're as old as me, Nelly. Oh, dear. They were the good old days, the 70s. The 70s, they were pretty good, the 70s. I was born in the 60s, but I still remember the mid-70s. Like, I was bloody 1975, I would have been 10 years old. So I still remember all that stuff. 1975, I remember living in a little country town called Surat, and I still remember, I think colour TV just came in 75 from memory, and I remember going down to the pub one day with Dad, and Sesame Street was on the TV at the pub, and I remember going, Big Bird's yellow and Cookie Monster's blue and Elmo's red. Like, I used to just see it in black and white. You didn't know what colour they were. And until then, colour TV come out and you realise that Cookie Monster's actually blue. That was a big... Does anyone remember that? Does anyone remember seeing colour TV for the first time and going, oh, wow, it was just... We just take it for granted now, don't we? Like, bloody, after you used to watch the Cisco Kid after school. Remember that show? The Cisco Kid. I'd come home after grade 2 or whatever, sit down and watch the Cisco Kid, Cisco and Poncho. John, you must have watched that show, surely. The Cisco Kid. How good was that show? What else was on? Zorro? Oh, there were some good shows back in those days in the early 70s. Bloody, really good. Yeah, so I still remember that. First time I saw colour TV, Sesame Street was on, and I remember being fascinated with how yellow Big Bird was and how blue Cookie Monster was, and Elmo was bright red, and Oscar the Grouch was green. They'd be good trivia questions. Good trivia questions. What colour is Oscar the Grouch? And I reckon a lot of people probably wouldn't know. Oscar was green, wasn't he, guys? Not bright green. He was like a dark green colour. He was my favourite. Snuffleupagus, guys. What colour was Snuffy? What colour was Snuffleupagus? Raced home to watch the Elvis movies. Well, I didn't mind a good Elvis movie, and I still don't mind watching an Elvis movie now. They're a bit cheesy now, aren't they? But they were pretty good. They were certainly good back in the day. Elvis movies used to get good ratings. He was the man back then, old Elvis. He was a good-looking rooster, old Elvis, wasn't he? He could sing too. Gee whiz, he was good. Hey, Russell, how are you? Put my TV on. That went over my head, Russell. But anyway, Russell runs on, guys. Gilligan's Island, Brady Bunch, Marsha, Snorgy, settle down. Snorgy's having Marsha flashbacks. Yeah, she's a good sort, Marsha Brady. Yeah, we did a live feed one night about that, didn't we? I brought up all the heart throbs of TV back in the old days, for not only for that, but the girls as well. And Elvis, I had a picture of Elvis there. He was a good-looking rooster. All the girls used to go crazy over Elvis and that. And the Hoff, I brought up the Hoff, and all the girls are going, Buck, you idiot. The Hoff was on there with his big furry chest. Tom Selleck with his big mo. Who wants a mustache ride? Oh, dear. I watched some shorts from a movie the other day. I'm just getting sidetracked again. Down Periscope. Who was in that? They made this crew. It was just this crew of misfits, and they put them back onto an old World War II diesel submarine and recommission it. And they had to go out and play the enemy so that the American Navy could practice drills against diesel submarines. Anyway, who's that idiot that can do? And he was in the submarine doing whale noises. That was one of the funny. Rob Schneider was in there as the XO. One of the funniest movies. Does anyone remember that? And they're up. The Navy ships are up the top, and they thought they'd locked onto the submarine. And the sonar operator, who's a comedian in real life, he's down there and he starts doing whale noises, so that they think it's actually a whale down there, not a submarine. And he's inside the submarine doing these whale noises. And the looks on the faces, how they kept a straight face, I do not know. Kelsey Grammer, Kelsey Grammer, and they were like looking at this bloke doing the whale noises. It was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. If you have not seen that, go on YouTube after this and go Down Periscope whale scene and watch it. And tell me it's not piss funny. It is funny as buggery. It really is. No, I can't, John. I wish I could. I saw that guy in another movie. He was in Dumb and Dumber as well. When they pulled over Owen Wilson and Jim Carrey, he pulled them over, and they'd been pissing into beer bottles on their trip. Anyway, they get pulled. This guy who did the same whale noises, he's good at doing all these funny noises with his mouth. Anyway, he pulls them over and he sees the beer bottles, and he goes, "Oh, you're sucking on some of Mama's home brew there or something, are you?" He goes, give me that here." So he wanted to catch them out for drinking alcohol while they're driving. Anyway, he takes a swig of it, and it was piss. It was urine, because they'd been pissing into the bottle, so they didn't have to pull over. Anyway, you see this bloke, the look on his face when he realised it was piss, and then he started doing this silly bloody noise with his mouth, the same kind of noises he was doing as the whale and that in the submarine. Does anyone know that actor's name? Because he's a funny bastard. John, do you know who I'm talking about there? He's a funny guy and can do some really funny noises with his mouth. But watch the whale scene. If you haven't seen it, Down Periscope, whale scene. It is one of the funniest things you will ever watch. But what's the funniest is he's doing this bloody whale noises, and his head's doing all these, and he'd run from one end of the submarine to the other doing a whoop, whoop, and doing all these whale noises. And that's the sonar operators up, and the ships were going, it's moving, like, and he was running from one end of the submarine doing all these whale noises. But the looks on the faces of the crew, I reckon they must have had to do about 150 takes to do that scene, because how they kept a straight face, I do not know. It was funny stuff. Gary Maloney. G'day, Gary. How are you? G'day, Buck. They don't make TV shows like they used to. Flash Gordon was a classic as well. I know. I've been sending slacking everyone. It Ain't Half Hot, Mum. Now, that's a show that they never got in America or Canada. It Ain't Half Hot, Mum. It was a British comedy about, it was a Royal Artillery concert troupe in World War II. And they're all bloody, and the sergeant major hated him. He used to refer to him as puffs back in the day when you could call them puffs. And John a puff here, if you call someone a puff, it means they're a homosexual. It was just a nickname. And it was just a thing we did. Even when I was growing up as a kid, you big puff, how are you? It was just a banter type name and that. But the RSM, the sergeant major, used to refer to all these troops as you bloody puffs and all this type of stuff. That was a funny show. I've been sending shorts of that to Slacken, and he said, I love this show. He goes, why did we never get this in Canada? It was a really, really good comedy. It ain't half hot, Mum. And someone mentioned it before in the thing, F Troop. I mean, how good was that show? F Troop. Oh, Vandervelt was the lookout. He had glasses on him by the bottoms of Coke bottles, and he was the lookout and looking out for Indians up in the lookout tower. He couldn't see past his nose, and they had him as the lookout. Every time they'd fire the cannon, it wouldn't go off, and Dobbs would bloody kick the wheel of the cannon and fall off, and the cannon ball would hit the bloody guard tower, and the guard tower would fall down. Vandervelde would bloody, whoever did that stunt, that was a bloody good stunt, that. It really was. Toby Huss played Nitro. Is that the bloke who does the whale noises, Steve? Toby Huss. I'll have to, he's funny. He's a bloody funny bloke. This is a pretty old movie now. That movie would have been from the 80s maybe, or the early 90s. Toby Huss. It's probably some porn actor, Steve. You're probably stitching me up. Toby Huss. Is he the one who can do all the... Another one who was good with Michael Winslow. Remember him in Police Academy with some of the silly bloody noises he could do with his mouth? He was unbelievable, that Michael Winslow. Another talented bloke and funny. Just funny stuff. Blues Brothers still has the best. Yeah, that was a good show too. The best stunt car scene of all time. Smokey and the Bandit had some good ones too, didn't it? And Dukes of Hazzard. Remember the Dukes of Hazzard? They reckon they went through about those General Lee cars. They used to go through about 2 or 3 cars an episode because you'd see it take off, and when it landed, you could see the whole front of it just crunch up and that, like obviously written off, and then you'd see a brand new one driving off. They used to go through about 2 or 3 of those General Lees every episode, they reckon. Funniest scene in a movie I ever saw was a fart scene in the Nutty. Yes. The Nutty Professor. That was, anything with a fart scene in it will be funny, Rob. That was funny, the fart scene in Nutty Professor, if you haven't seen that. And what's the one with Mel Brooks where they're sitting around, the cowboys all sitting around the campfire? Blazing Saddles, the baked bean. If you haven't seen that, the farting scene in Blazing Saddles, YouTube that one. That will give you a laugh too. 68 or, John said 68 or 69. Were they Dodge Chargers, were they, those cars? Blazing Saddles was another one as well. Still a record for Blues Brothers, still has the record to this date, I believe. Is that for that stunt thing, mate? Yeah. Anyway, it's always good to look back. And someone said before, they don't have shows like this on TV anymore, do they? Like, TV's just lost the plot now, everyone. It's all this reality stuff, and no one makes good, funny old comedies anymore. And it's just the glory days are gone. Not only in Australia, in all countries. Is there any, the young ones? Yeah, that was a bit silly. I didn't mind watching the young ones, but they just don't make good shows like that anymore. Gilligan's Island. I've been watching a lot of Batman. Remember the original Batman? You come home after school and Batman and Robin had used to be on. And just good old shows like that. Like, they just don't make it anymore, do they? Why? I still love watching the Three Stooges, everyone. Me and me mate Pat, we love watching the Three Stooges. Johnny, just as I said it, he come up, Johnny P. G'day, Pap, how are you, mate? Everything's different now, I know, and I still love on YouTube. That's a good thing about YouTube. You can still watch some of your old shows. Yeah, a lot of your Batman and all that type of stuff. It's good, but if you haven't seen it, guys, you've got to do that down Periscope whale scene, and you'll know what I mean. It's bloody funny. So me and Pap always sending Three Stooges stuff through to each other. They were ahead of their time. I know some people, that slapstick comedy and that, but I just love the violence in there. Mo used to just give it to the other blokes, and he used to cop it back at times too. Just funny. They started in the 30s, the Stooges. That was good comedy for back in those days. It really, really was. And me and Pap always laugh about the sound effects. Some of the snapping when they crack each other's noses and hit each other on the head with hammers and all that. The noise effects back then. I say to Pat, how did they make those sound effects? It's funny stuff. It really is. No more whales. Yeah, I know. Cheech and Chong, yeah, never got into Cheech and Chong, but yeah, there was some funny stuff there as well. Cheech and Chong, as I said, Kingswood Country. Looking back now, that was a bit cheesy. Kingswood Country, wasn't it? We used to think it was funny back then. You look at it back now, and it was a bit cheesy. Ross Higgins he's dead now, as most people are. They're all bloody falling off the perch. Gina Davis passed away yesterday. She was brilliant. Yeah, what was she in, mate? I remember her name. Gina Davis. Did she play what was she in? Gina Davis. I'm trying to think what she was in. I do know who you're talking about there. Paul Hogue, Ted Ballpit. Gina Davis. I had not heard that one, Steve. That's a new one to me. I knew Ace Frehley had passed away. I didn't know about Gina Davis. What was she in? She was in a good movie. Yeah. Thelma and Louise. There you go. Hey, Beaker, how are you, mate? Beaker's on. G'day, mate. Me and there you go, guys. I'm pretty sure me, Pap, and Pete Donlan all served together in the same SIGS unit. Back in the late 80s. Gee whiz. How about that? How quick's time going now? You know, we're still here, and Beaker and Pap and that, and you think, hang on, I'll work with you guys in like 87, 88 at 103 Signal Squadron. How bloody quick is time going? The 80s, this is scary, guys. The 80s, which to me seems like yesterday, that was 50 years ago. Can you believe that shit? The 80s, well, nearly 50 years ago, wasn't it? Bloody hell. Yeah. Robbie Williams, Patch Adams. No, Robin, you mean Robin Williams. Robbie Williams was a singer. Robin Williams, Patch Adams. Yeah, that was a good movie, Russell. Has anyone seen Patch Adams? Where Robin Williams, one of his, he did a lot of great thing. Patch Adams, where he was a doctor in a kids' hospital, guys. And he used to make the kids laugh. And he used to come in with his stethoscope on, a big red nose and whatever. And they were trying to say, you can't do that and you've got to be serious and all that. That Patch Adams, if you haven't seen that movie, watch it. Robin Williams was brilliant in that. He was absolutely brilliant. And he used to, it was like almost taking the kids' minds off why they were in hospital by doing what he did best. He was a fantastic comedian. Yeah. Gina Davis was in a league of their own. Yeah, she was, and Thelma and Louise. That's where I know her from, Thelma and Louise. Yeah. Blue Dog. I didn't get to 103 or 3 Combat Signal Regiment until 2006, 11 years after I joined. We used to have a Blue Dog. I always thought you were Blue Stannard. We had a bloke at 103 called Blue Stannard, and that's who I thought you were. But that was before your time. Blue Stannard was in Radio Troop. Don't know if he was there. He might have been in the early. Blue was there in the early 90s. I don't think he was there in the 80s. Pap, do you remember Blue Stannard? That's who I thought you were, Blue Dog, but it's obviously not you. You're too late for that. Blue was there. Blue Stannard was there in the early 90s in Radio Troop from memory. Yeah, Robin Williams, one of the best, wasn't he? In Good Morning Vietnam. There was no script for that. They just put him in a booth and let him be him. They just went, go in and he just did that all off the cuff, apparently, that Good Morning Vietnam movie. It was just, he just went in there and the directors just went, mate, just do whatever you do. And he was unbelievable. Very sad ending to him, took his own life, Robin Williams. Obviously had some demons in there and a funny man on the outside, but obviously something going on the inside for him to take his life. That was sad when he took his own life, guys. Robin Williams, that hit the whole world hard. I don't know a person who didn't love watching Robin Williams. He could do everything from serious movies through to comedy. Remember him on, I think the movie is called 1 Hour Photo, and he was in when you used to take your film in to get developed at a pharmacy or a chemist or whatever, and he was in there and developing, and he played like a psychopath or something there, or like a bloody, and started stalking this woman and all that type of stuff. So he played like a scary character in that movie, 1 Hour Photo. He could do anything. He was just a talented guy. Mork and Mindy. I mean, when he played Mork from Mork, I think a lot of that stuff was just, he used to just cuff it off. This nanu, and that was just all him being silly, and it's bloody, yeah, that's where he started off, was Mork and Mindy. And he was Mork from Mork, and then he just went on to bigger and better things from there. He did some magnificent movies, didn't he? Anyway, good to hear she's still alive, and just came up on my news feed. Good to hear she's still alive. Who are we talking about now? Oh, the Mork and Mindy, or whatever her name was. I can't remember what her real name was. Mindy? Pam Dwyer or something, was it? How do I remember this shit? Was her name Pam Dwyer? Mindy? Oh, Gina. Is she still alive? Who said she was dead? Gina Davis. Someone said she was dead. Nanu. Yeah, exactly. Hey, on my live feeds now, guys, I came on this morning just to say g'day. I got no footy to talk about. How boring is it without the footy? Even though I think Tonga and Samoa are playing today, that'll be a cracker. 2002 guys, I worked up in Papua New Guinea as a defence advisor up there. Anyway, I work with a bloody PNG sergeant up there, and his name was David Bunga, Bunga. Anyway, he sent me a letter once, and when I left New Guinea, he was a lovely guy, and I said to him, if you ever come to Australia, mate, you're welcome to stay at my place. Anyway, I didn't realise I'd kept the letter. He sent me a letter not long after I got back to Australia. Kept in touch with him for a while, but I kept his letter, and he was still in the PNG Defence Force when I left. He is from the Sepik region of the East Sepik province. Dear Paul Rogers, greetings. This is how he wrote. It's got the PNGDF thing on it. I thought I'd read this out to you guys. Just bloody hello, and how are you at this moment? Well, for me and family, we are fine and in good health. Paul, it was a pleasure to hear from you once again. This is after I got back to Australia. I wrote him a letter, guys, and we were very delighted and pleased to hear from your end. And may the Lord bless you in whatever you do. PNG people are very religious, guys. They're very, very religious people. I'm now posted to the Director of Supplies office and awaiting retrenchment from the force, maybe early in the year 2004. So he was just waiting to be retrenched out of the PNGDF. From there, me and the family will move straight to my home in the East Sepik province of Papua New Guinea. After we reset ourselves, we will raise some money and try to visit you in Australia on a tour and some sort of leave for a week or so. Obviously, that didn't happen, poor bugger. Yours truly, and kind invitations to accommodate us for free at your property is a very brotherly passion to family. Just remember, English ain't their first language up there either, guys. They speak Tok Pisin. So, and me, thanks for that. For my family and me, thanks for that. Paul, during my 23 years working with Australian soldiers as a supply clerk and a storeman. You are the only one out of 23 white men to ask me to visit you in Australia. So obviously he's worked with a lot of Aussie soldiers. I actually said, mate, if you ever come down to Australia, you got a place to stay. Make sure you pop in and say good day. Is what you do. Anyway, he remembered that, eh? He said, out of 23 years working with white men, you're the only one to ever offer me to come and stay with you. Anyway, Paul, if you ever happen to come to New Guinea, please call in and say hello and ring me on this phone number, which I'd love to ring, but he's probably not on that phone number anymore, I'd say, if he's moved up to East Sepik. And on behalf of me and my family, wish you a Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year. Goodbye, na lookum you sampala time. Goodbye and see you another time. He finished it off in top pizen there. Goodbye, Gutbai, na lookum you, which is see you, lookum see, sampala time, another time. So I still remember a bit of Tok Pisin. I was getting pretty good at it up there. I actually did a Tok Pisin course before I went to New Guinea. I went to the Australian Defence Force School of Languages and actually did a Tok Pisin language course. And when I was up there for a year, I used to try and speak as much Pisin, P-I-S-I, Pidgin English. Some of it was easy. There was a lot of it too was quite hard, and they still had a lot of German words in their language because before it became Papua New Guinea in 1975, when they got their independence from Australia, it used to be called Papua and New Guinea, not Papua New Guinea, Papua and New Guinea. Papua was an Australian colony, and New Guinea used to be German controlled. And up until 1914, New Guinea, the northern part, was German. And in 1914, everyone thinks Australian soldiers' first conflict in World War I was Gallipoli. It wasn't. Australia went up and kicked the Germans out of New Guinea in 1914 when World War I first broke out. When German and the British Commonwealth went to war, Aussies went up, we kicked the Germans out of New Guinea, guys. I don't know if you knew that. And that we saw there was combat between Australians and Germans in 1914 in New Guinea. And we threw them out of New Guinea. And then in 1915 is when everyone thinks, our first conflict in World War I was 1915 in Gallipoli. It wasn't. It was in 1914 in New Guinea. So there you go. If you didn't know that, you know now. I'm a wealth of information. It was good. I was just going through some photos the other day and I come across that letter from David. Anyway, that was a long time ago now, guys. I hope he's, that's 20 years ago. I hope him and his family, I hope he's still good. And he was a lovely guy. He really was. I remember running a course up there. It was the first course I've been running in like 20 years. And I ran it out at a place called Goldie River where their one RPIR, 1st Royal Pacific Island Regiment, was out there, one of their infantry battalions. I ran a course out there on how to, for guys to, John, for you, an S4 course, like teaching them how to account for their ammunition, how to control their weapons properly, account for all their weapons, how to make sure to support their infantry guys in the field, how to do resupply and all this type of stuff. Anyway, I did up a course syllabus. It was a 3-week course from memory, a 2 or 3 week course. And I did an Australian course, 0700 morning parade, 0730 PT, 0830. And, and then we go in the classroom and do lessons and all this type of stuff. Anyway, I ran PT in the mornings for this course. And after the first morning of PT, I realised how unfit the PNG soldiers were. I took them for a run and I nearly lost about 6 of them to heart attacks. They were unfit. And I thought, I better wind back on the PT because I just come from the SAS regiment before I went to New Guinea. So I was still pretty fit back then. And the PNG boys, they were struggling on their first run. And I thought, maybe PT just needs to be, we'll have a game of touch football or something in the morning and do a few push-ups and just wind it back, because I tell you what, I thought I was going to lose a few of them on the first run I took them on. But anyway, that was a great course, and David was my offsider. David was my PNG offsider for that course, and he was bloody terrific guy. So anyway, there's another bit of story. Blue Dog saying I did some top pism when I went to Bougainville. Yeah, I was supposed to go to Bougainville to do a weapons inspection over there. Anyway, it got cancelled. It was apparently word got the jungle drums were beating, and the word got around that there was Australian soldiers going to go to Bougainville to try and track down missing weapons and all that. And the P and GDF, they were corrupt up there, guys. Corruption was rife. And we just signed a defence pact with Papua New Guinea guys, and which means they can come down and work with us. We go up, work with them, and all that type of stuff. I tell you what, the P and GDF need to pull their finger out, because when I was there, it was just corrupt, absolutely corrupt. I have some good stories from up there. Anyway, 49, if someone's talking about the footy, yeah, another thing I was proud of up there, they didn't have any computers up there. This is 2002. There was no such thing as a computer. And I got onto a supply guy I knew back in Perth, and I knew the Australian Army were upgrading all their computers. I got onto him and said, mate, what are you doing? All those computers you are upgrading in the Australian Army at the moment, getting the latest and greatest and that. You're going to have bloody heap of, we just sent an auction, mate. I said, do you reckon you could get some up to New Guinea for me? He said, yeah. He said, how many you want? I think I said, about 30 or something, like Pentium 166, which was the duck's guts back then. Anyway, a couple of weeks later, Royal Australian Air Force Hercules lands at Port Moresby thing. I'm there with a couple of trucks, and there's a couple of pallets of computers on there. So we went back to Murray Barracks in Port Moresby, and we found a room that we could turn into a computer training room. We got an electrician in to put PowerPoints and all that type of stuff in. We got bars welded onto the windows so the computers couldn't be flogged and all that. We turned that big room into a computer training room. We had money to do all this type of stuff. So, and we got the PNGDF's first ever computer training room. And we started running, I didn't, but some other guys that were there started running basic computer courses, showing them how to use a computer, just basic stuff on a computer. And then my intention was to get computers out into the units so that they could use their computers for stores control, and just using Excel spreadsheets and that to control how many M16s they had and all the serial numbers and their location, where they were, all their M60s and all that type of stuff, which they had at the time. I think they're still running M60s. So just trying to get some sort of stores control, even though they didn't have a computer program like we had for stores control. I thought at least they can use an Excel spreadsheet. So that's what the computer courses were. And it was very, very successful. We had officers like colonels, P&G colonels and that, wanting to get on computer. It was a big thing for them. It was bringing them out of the bloody Stone Age type thing and getting them up with a bit of technology and all that. And I was the one who got that up and running up there, the first ever computer training room for the PNGDF. And that was all through the old boy network. Ringing up a mate in Perth, get some computers up to Moresby for me. And next thing you know, he said, mate, there's a Herc coming up next week. I'll see if I can get them on the Herc for you. Sure enough, a couple of pallet loads of computers and monitors and keyboards and printers and all that type of stuff. And yeah, we got a bloody room done up, and all the P&G boys were learning how to use computers and all that type of stuff. It was good. I hope that continued on. I hope it went on to bigger and better things after I left New Guinea. That was good days there. That was my last year in the army, guys, and then I bloody discharged, then come back to Australia and joined the Queensland Coppers after that. But yeah. Lynn's asking, John, if they use Starlink over there where you are. Yeah, they do, Lynn. I've seen a lot of Americans using Starlink and Starlink Mini and all that. I don't know if John uses Starlink. I don't. Dana and I don't. We already pay for internet at the house, so I don't want to pay twice for the service. No, John doesn't use Starlink Mini, Lynn, but a lot of Americans, when they go around, do. Starlink's a game changer, isn't it, guys? People used to have all these booster, you put a booster up on a pole and try and find some sort of bloody, here in Australia, Telstra antenna so you could boost the signal and get internet that way. That's all gone. You wouldn't even worry about that now. You just go and buy a Starlink Mini, guys. And now, for $8.50 a month, you can go out and just keep it on the basic $8.50 a month. Can't watch videos and all that. You can still send a text through there, and you can still scroll and just scroll through Facebook if you want on that $8.50 program. So, but if you want to watch YouTube or Netflix or anything like that when you're out camping in your caravan, you'd have to go to one of the higher things. But if anyone's got Starlink Mini or Starlink, no, I think it's the Mini, you've got to pay $8.50 a month now to keep it active. You can't just turn it off and just turn it on when you want. So just the way that they get a bit of money out of you, but $8.50 a month's not too much. And if you just want to go out for a weekend and just, but still be, if you're going remote, you can still send text messages and use it for safety. $8.50 a month, that's fine. Yeah. So if you don't have, typically where John and Dana go, they have cellular coverage. Yeah, I guess if you're going to, your cellular coverage is probably a lot better than what we've got here in Australia, mate. I still can't believe it's 2025 and there's so many black areas where you just can't get reception in this country. And I think that's why a lot of people are going to Starlink, everyone. That Starlink Mini, that's a good bit of kit, guys. I give it the double thumbs up. It is incredible. I plug that in now. I use the 12-volt cable. Plug it in, and within a minute, face it south, within a minute, we're on. And we've got as good an internet as we have back. A lot of people go, oh, when you go camping, and I get that. If you're just going away for a weekend or a short camping trip, you don't need it. But if you're going to do a big trip and you're away for months or you're doing a trip around Australia or whatever, it is good to have that Starlink. And you see a lot of caravan people are running the Starlinks and that. It's a bloody, it's a brilliant bit of kit, Starlink. It's expensive, $195 for unlimited, $195 a month. But when you get home, you can turn that off. You can get $80 a month plan. So if you just do a bit of YouTubing or whatever when you're out camping, sitting around there, you can do the $80 a month. But if you just want to go out for a weekend and you can do the $8.50 one, you can still bloody send text messages, guys, and still scroll through Facebook on the $8.50 one. I've tried it and it works well. But can you stream YouTube in standby mode? You can stream YouTube in standby mode. Oh, okay. What, on Starlink? I've tried watching a video, or when the $8.50 one, I've tried watching a video on Starlink, on YouTube through Starlink, and it doesn't work, mate. I can't do it. So, but just scrolling through Facebook, you could. At the end of the day, I know a lot of people, you go camping to get away from that shit. I get it. But when you're on a big trip, and if you're going remote, Starlink is very good if you need it in an emergency, guys. If you need it, someone gets tagged by a snake or whatever, you're going to be glad that you can make an emergency call because you've got Starlink Mini with you. Yeah. Okay, Lynn, I tried to do YouTube and it wouldn't work for me on mine. So anyway, you might be in a, I don't know how that works. Anyway, guys, I've got nothing else to say except it's shit without the footy on now. I missed the footy. I think Mark sent me a text the other day and said, how shit is it without the footy on a Friday night and that? And it is. It's like got to readjust and find other things to do, I guess. So anyway, hey, tell you what I've got coming up soon. I'm going to have Bobby and Kim Asser on, everyone. And they've sent me a few little videos of when they were on holidays over in Kenya and their son got married over in Kenya to a Kenyan girl, obviously. And we're going to have a chat to Bob and Kim about their trip to Kenya and just how different Kenya is in Africa to Australia. And there's some funny video there. It's Bobby there doing the jumping up and down with these big, tall African guys and all that type of stuff. You'll get to see all that. So we're going to do a test run with Bob and Kim, make sure their internet. Last time I did a live feed with Bob, his internet wasn't real good. Apparently they've got it sorted now. So look out. It'll be a Friday or a Saturday night, everyone. My next live feed with Bobby and Kim Assa, and we're going to talk about their experience in Kenya. Show you a few little videos and all that. Just incredible. Just such a different life over there compared to what we're used to in Australia or even the United States. Buck, is mum good? Yeah, mate. She's mum. I rang her not last night, the night before, and she's retiring, guys, from nursing at 84 years old. Can you believe that? She's going to hang the boots up, and she had 10 weeks. I think she had 10 weeks leave in her book, and she wanted to clear a leave. So she goes, she went up and saw the boss and said, hey, I'm retiring. I want to run my leave down and then put my resignation in. Oh, Pam, we can't let you take leave. We can't, They said, you might have to convert that to sick leave. Somehow they can convert annual leave to sick leave. And Mum said, yeah, you know why they do that? Because it doesn't cost them as much money because you lose your penalties and all that type of stuff. Anyway, at the end of the day, Mum's told them to stick work in their ass. I'm going. So I think she's on 10 weeks sick leave now, which should be annual leave, but they converted it to sick leave for her. So Mum said at the end of the day now, and then when my sick leave finishes, she'll go into Centrelink and start receiving the old age pension, which you can get from 67 here in Australia. Mum's 84, so she's well and truly qualified for it. She's already been in to see Centrelink, and they've told her how much a fortnight she'd get. And I think that was Mum went, maybe I should have done this a bit sooner. So anyway, Mum's finally retiring. She's going well, Lukey. She's going well, and she sounds happy. And she said, I'm just looking forward to, at my age now, not getting up and knowing I've got to go to work that day. I think it's finally caught up with Mum. Unbelievable career. Yeah, over 60 years nursing, Mark. So she's a tough old bugger. So I hope Mum now enjoys her retirement. Mum doesn't do much, guys. She loves watching. She watches YouTube, but she watches all these shows on YouTube, and it's this lady in Iran. It's like, and the cameras follow this lady around Iran. She got some little kids and building her own house, and another one in Cambodia or Thailand. It just shows you how other people in the world live, and they don't live as good as what we do. And Mum likes watching those types of shows. And while she's watching, she sits there and crochets rugs for Hope in a suitcase, and that's all Mum likes doing, guys. Sleeping, cooking, doing her crocheting, just sitting at home, taking it easy. And if that's what she wants to do, good on her. So anyway, it'll be good. I'll go down there when I get the BT50 fixed, guys, get a new gearbox in. I'll go down and take Mum out for a nice dinner and as a bit of a retirement dinner and say well done. So, yeah, unbelievable career. How's the gearbox looking? Big fella, I said at the start of the thing, mate, I'm up for a new gearbox, a new heavy-duty, rebuilt heavy-duty gearbox with heavy-duty 5th and 6th gear and blah, blah, blah. $6,200, mate. I'm waiting for me mechanic to go, it's arrived, bring your car in. And I'm going to be 6'2" down the gurgler. Get that one into your buck. And then I've got to go take the caravan up and get the water pump replaced on the caravan in Keene. So, yeah, there's 10. And I did my taxi the other day. Without going into it, guys. I owe them $2,500. I'm on an army pension and I owe them $2,500 because Roz is retired now and they're stinging me for her Medicare levy and what else? We got some money on a fixed term deposit trying to make a bit of money, and then they add any interest you receive. So I just come to the conclusion now, there's no use having money in the bank. They just penalise you for it. Veteran Affairs, there's always saying, how much money you got in the bank? And if you got too much money in there, they decrease your pension. It's like it's all means tested. I said to Roz the other day, what's the use of having trying to keep a bit of money in the bank just in case something goes wrong and, I need to get something on the house fixed or whatever, frigging gearbox on the BT50. As soon as you got money in the bank, you get penalised for it. So I'm on a pension and I still owe Albo $2,500. That one nearly tipped me over the edge the other day. When me accountant rang me, I've done your tax, mate. You owe him $2,500. I nearly blew a gasket. this computer almost had a lefty through it. I was almost going to crack the computer with my left fist. I could feel the steam coming out my ears because I owed them $2,500. So there you go. That and the gearbox and a water pump, there's 10 grand. Down the gurgler, everyone. Get that one into your buck. That'll learn you. Oh, dear. You just can't win in this country, can you? You can't win. And you'll go in for a drive into town and you see these arseholes walking around that I used to arrest when I was a copper here. They haven't worked a day in their life and they're still walking around breathing oxygen. It pisses me off. Anyway, that's me rant for the day, guys. That's me rant for the day. I owe Elbow $2,500. Anyway, he could sense I was about to blow off a gasket. The bloke on the end of the phone in Townsville, he said, "Hey, mate," he goes, "I got some good news for you." He said, "You've only just turned 60." He said, "Next year when you do your tax, there's an offset. When you turn 60, you get some sort of offset, not offset to your tax." So he said, that's worth about $3,000. He said, next year, he said, you should be okay. You shouldn't have to pay any money next year because of this offset. But he said, you've only just turned 60, so you haven't had a full year at being 60 to get that offset. He said, next year will be better for you. So he I think he saved my computer from copping a lefty. So I said, I'll believe that when I see it, mate. I know I'll do me tax again next year. And I said to Roz, what's the use of having money in the bank? We should buy a Ranger Super Duty. And she just shook her head and said, don't even think about it, Rogers. Do not even think about it. So anyway, yeah, that blue tie, I know, mate. How does someone on a pension, and what happens, mate, is the DFIDB pension, it's all taxed, mate. It's not tax-free. It's all taxed. So when you put me Veteran Affairs, which is taxed, my Veteran Affairs pension is taxed, the one I get. My DFIDB is taxed. And then I've got earning interest on a bank account, on a fixed term deposit. So that adds in there as well. Then Roz is retired now, so I have to pay half Medicare levy for Roz because she lives under this roof and that. So, yeah, they just get you, mate. They get you. If there's a way they can get you, the government, they will get you. So I've been paying tax. I can't remember the last time I got a tax return, everyone. Even when I was a cop, I used to get my police salary and I had my DFIDB army pension on top of that. Nice little supplement. But it always threw me into the next tax bracket. And every time I did my tax, I owe money. I owe thousands every year. Last year, me and Roz had a little rental home. We ended up selling that. I had to pay capital gains tax. $9,000 last year I paid tax because we sold our little rental home. So I was up for $9,000, over nearly $10,000 there, capital gains tax. So they just get me every year. And I thought, this year I don't have a rental home anymore. We got rid of that. I should get something back this year. Nah, get that into your buck. Give us $2,500 again. Anyway, what do? I can't claim anything anymore. When you're retired, you've got no tax deductions. I'm not working. I can't claim anything. So it is what it is. I've just got to bend over and cop the rough end of the pineapple with no lube, everyone. What do? Anyway, just gives me more ammo to hate Elbow even more. No, mate, it's not just Elbow. It would have happened if it was the other mob was in. It doesn't matter who's in. I still owe them money. And so the harder you work in this country, you seem to get penalised more. And that's why everyone gets the shits. You go out and bust your guts and you work hard, you should be rewarded, not penalised by paying tax through the arse. But we do, don't we? People can't get ahead. All the POMs, Blue Dog saying, all the POMs that transfer to the Australian Defence Force always say they'll never bring their pension to Australia. They'll keep it in the UK account because Australia will rip them all. Yeah, exactly, mate. Exactly. And you can't hide anything, mate. You can't hide anything. When you do your tax, they got access to all your bank. They just go, oh, you weren't so much $3,000 interest or something this year, and we add that on, and yeah. Rowan Martin says he pays over $40,000 in tax each year. That's not extra, mate. That's coming out of your weight, isn't it? Yeah. Anyway, just part of being in the Western world, guys. You've got to pay tax. I understand you've got to pay tax. I get that. But sometimes you think, haven't I done enough for me country? And you're still getting a bit out of me, you bastards. You're still getting your little grippers into me. Leave me alone. I've done me bit. Just leave me alone. But no, we'll get back again. We'll see how it happens. If I have to pay next year, that'll tip me over the edge, guys, I think. Anyway, and it gets to the stage where you've got to hide you've got to try and hide your money under the mattress and not put it in a bank, because seems to have access. Veteran Affairs, you've got this and you've got these assets and you've got that, you own a caravan and all that. Will decrease your army pension, your DVA pension, because you own a caravan and you own a 4-wheel drive and all that. It's all means tested. You just can't get away from it, mate. So take your money out of the bank, everyone, and hide it under your mattress. That's my advice. No, don't do that. Your house will burn down. You'll lose it all. Milking me dry. Yeah, I know, mate. What do you do? As long as I can still afford to go out and buy some ribs and a carton of beer, sit in my backyard, and just watch the world go past. That's what it's all about now, anyway. I'll tell you what I did find the other day, everyone. I pay half rego here in Queensland because I'm on a Veteran Affairs Gold card. I Googled it the other day and it said anyone on a Veteran Affairs Gold card, TPI, gets 1 free rego. Well, that may have just changed. I'm going to go into Department of Transport tomorrow and show them that thing and go, I know I'm getting half price. I appreciate that. I'll get half price off me reg. So instead of paying nearly $1,000 a year for BT50, my rego is about 500. But according to Mr. Google, it should be free. So I'm going to go in and hit if I can get something for free, I'm going to get it. So it's better in my pocket. Another $500 a year is better in my pocket than the bloody Queensland government. So if they're going to give me it says 1 free car, 1 free vehicle. The first vehicle is free, and your boat if you've got a boat. So I used to get free rego on the boat, not the trailer, just the boat. That was only about bloody $80 or something. It wasn't much. Don't have the boat anymore, but I'm going to go in and ask him tomorrow. I'm going to, hey, look at this. It says it should be free now, not half price. So maybe they've just changed the rules, and I'll have to go in and ask about that. Anywhere you can save a few bucks, you've got to try and do it, guys, eh? And it gets to the stage now where if you can go to and I hate to do it, I think I'd get that for half the price at Bunnings. As much as I hate supporting these big companies, you've got to start thinking about your own back pocket sometimes. And it's a shame it doesn't help the little guys, does it? But you've got to look after number one. Anyway, I'm going to go. I'm going to piss off, have another coffee, guys, and then I'm going to go sneak down to the river. I've got a golden cane palm here that's outgrown its pot. It keeps falling over, and I haven't got a pot big enough to put it in. So I'm going to sneak down to the river with this big golden cane, and I'm going to plant it near the river somewhere in the wild and let it grow wild. The golden cane, they get huge, golden cane palms. So I'm going to go and plant it down near the river somewhere, and in 10 years' time, I can go back and go, I planted that. So that's me job this afternoon. How exciting. I'm going to sneak down. Usually people sneak around and pinch plants, so like a black boy or something, they dig them up and take them back and put it. I'm going to do the opposite. I'm actually taking something from my yard and going to go and plant it somewhere else. So the council will go, where'd that come from? When they bloody go down to the river next. So I'll find some remote place and dig a hole, throw the golden cane in and let it grow wild down near the river somewhere. Put a plaque on it. Buck's Bush. Yeah, Buck. I should do. Donated by Rafa the dog. And but anyway, it'll be down not far from my house here, guys. I'll sneak down, dig a hole, throw the golden cane in, and go back every year and see how big it's getting. They get pretty big, the golden canes. They're a beautiful looking palm. They drop a lot of palm fronds, but they're bloody things. You're always picking palm fronds up from them. All right, hope you enjoyed the live feed. I just talked shit this morning. I didn't really have anything to talk about, but the next live feed I do, it's going to be a good one, guys. It'll be on Friday or Saturday night, and it's going to be with Bobby and Kim Assa talking about their Kenya holiday. I think it'll be really, really interesting. All right, Mr. Bullet's on, is he? Mr. Bullet's just got out of bed. Yeah, every state's got different things with Veteran Affairs. Every state's different. And I just read that Queensland now, you get your first car free instead of. So I'm going to go in and see him tomorrow. I'll keep you updated on that one, everyone. I'll let you know how I go on that. But anyway, that'll be $500 of me, $2.5 grand back. Hopefully. I've got $2 grand to go. I'll try and see how I can. See you later, Rob. Thanks for coming on, mate, with the blue spanner. And we didn't have any dickheads on today, which is good. That's all seems to be gone now, which is good. See you, Lukey, Tyler, down in Tassie. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, everyone. I'm going to go and have another brew, and then I'll throw the palm into the little trailer, and I'll sneak down the river and plant a palm tree. See you later, everyone. Goodbye. See ya.